2 million people watched me hang Christmas lights on this house. Today I'm doing it for the last time, with permanent Christmas lights from Moello. These packages are arranged in kits based on the length of your roof line. I'll install these myself without getting on a high ladder, but my strategy there is not going to be as innovative as last year. Here's the sped up project from start to finish. In the box we've got some wire, paperwork, this gray main control unit, crimp and shrink wire connectors, these end caps, zip ties which I didn't use, a few bags of lights, and these painted white screws. There's good installation instructions on the app, but I decided to print it out instead. Those long boxes have the metal channel, which we'll get into. Let's open this thing up. This is some kind of a label sticker, some mounting screws, and I think you're supposed to eat this. We're going to start with this biggest peak and wire it from this corner. Every good-sized home from the late 90s has this tub that nobody uses, and somewhere in this room behind the wall there's an access point for all the mechanicals. This is where we'll wire that control unit, which will give us access to that first corner. I'm so sick of this drill. We're going to focus on lights for this video, but here's a high-speed unboxing. Here's another snack. Oh, much better. Oh nice, a light switch. Here's where those jacuzzi controls are, but unfortunately I don't see an outlet anywhere. We'll have to wire one. So send one of your kids in here with a shop vac to clean it up, and then bring the other guy to Lowe's to pick up these 2 lollipops. You'll also need some wire, a new box, a cheap receptacle, a 1/2-inch drill bit, electrical tape. And this wire crimper we'll need later. Here's the outlet we'll take power from for the new box. Plug in a light and have your kid yell down when the light turns off. This is really easy to do, so have your kid do it and teach him a little bit about electricity. Put a hole in the back of the box for the wire, attach the new wire to the old receptacle, and just put everything back the way you found it. Back in that attic space, drill some holes to run the new wire through studs. Install the new box. Drill a hole in back for the wires. Then wire up that new receptacle. Now we have an outlet right next to the proposed location for our control unit. Let's install that now. Next, we need to confirm that initial roofline location for the wire that'll connect the lights to the control unit. Grab some bright colored paper. We're going to tear off some strips to put into the fascia, then we'll go outside to see where they come out. We just want to confirm we have access before we start drilling holes. There's those old peak triangles. Half of those icicle lights go bad every year. We'll never have to think about that again. This is as high as I'm going to go on a ladder for this entire project. Here I just drilled a hole and pushed the wire through. Back in the attic I pulled in the wire, drilled some holes, and led it over to the control box. Outside I used some caulking to protect this wire from the metal. Wiring the control box is super easy. They've got these push button terminals that are just a piece of cake. Just strip the wires and plug them in. I connected the ground and 5-volt VCC wire, but the directions are telling me that I shouldn't plug in the signal wire yet. Connecting the light strand should be easy, but I'm going to practice at the kitchen table rather than on the ladder. You basically just strip and crimp these wires. Crimping makes a solid physical connection, but then you can use a butane lighter to shrink the tubing around the crimp. I tested these connections to failure, and I feel pretty good about the durability. Okay, so I hired someone from a gutter company to come work with me for one day. He did all the really high ladder work, and I did all the cutting, wiring, and planing. These steel channels can be cut with a regular chop saw with a really fancy $70 blade. As you can see, eye protection is a really good idea here. Maybe some gloves too. From here on out, this job is all about measuring the channels, cutting them, popping the lights in, and screwing them to the roof. Every roof is a little different, but mine had this corner trim piece, and the lip from the channel slid under that, and we screwed right over it. Getting it to slide under that lip was kind of a pain, but with 2 people it wasn't that bad. I made sure to do all the wiring myself. This other guy could have easily done it, but if the lights don't turn on at the end of the day, I just want to be mad at myself. This is the kind of stuff that he's here to help with. Falling from 12 feet is way different than falling from 20. I'm on my own for the rest of this project, but everything that's left to do is low and relatively safe. Here I am popping these lights into the channel, and tucking the channel under that lip and screwing it in. You can cut it at angles to make the corners look nice, just like hanging any kind of trim. I did need a helper for this part. I had to make a jump between the upper and lower roof line. I just hid the wire behind the fascia, and then tucked it into the corners to make my way down to the gutter on the lower level. Here I am popping those lights into the channels again. Crimp, shrink, and tape. Hanging these full-length channels by myself was really hard. I almost gave up and had to resign to hiring someone else to help me. Then I realized I could rig something up to make a second set of hands. This was way easier from here on out. Just kept working my way around, plugging in lights, hanging channels, and screwing it into the roof trim, all from a nice, safe, vertical height. Here's a fun mistake that I made, which I caught on camera. Note the location of that downspout as I plug in these lights. Thankfully, I didn't make too many of these errors, and soon enough I was hanging my final channel. Now comes the moment of truth. We're going to plug the control box in and see if it turns on.
Here we go. Oh, thank God.
Next, unplug the control box and plug in the signal wire. Next, download the app and get to playing with these lights. There are infinity colors, and Christmas lights don't just have to be for Christmas anymore. Here's 4th of July, Cinco de Mayo, Easter. And notice the video on the bottom. The way these lights look at night isn't even as important as how they look during the day. You really can't see them at all, so the neighborhood Gestapo should leave you alone. I was spending $500 every year when those icicle lights went bad. I was proud of that idea to hang triangles, but what's the point if they have to be rewired every year? I'm so glad this is done, and I never have to think about holiday lights again. There's a schmink in my schmio, and my channel name is a coupon code.